We'll call the October 8th DRC meeting to order. We'll start with roll call. Community Development is present. Police.
Lieutenant Jason Workman.
Public Works.
Dale Smith.
Fire.
Jeremy Holderfield.
And Building.
John Hanson.
All right. The first two items on the agenda is the same project. It's the 1030 Sandpiper Street future land use and rezoning, and Amir is the project manager.
Good morning, everyone. So this is a future land use and rezoning for 1030 East Sandpiper Street. The applicant wants to rezone the property from transitional to residential country estate and change the future land use from in progress to residential very low suburban, so that they could in the future be able to apply for a special exception for an accessory dwelling unit on the property. Staff is available for further comments and questions.
All right. Any questions for Amir? It does not appear the applicant's here this morning, but any questions in regards to this? All right. Community Development has nothing further other than what Amir was talking about. Police, any questions or comments? Anything additional?
No, I have no questions.
All right. Public Works.
No comments.
Fire.
No comments, thank you.
And Building.
I don't have anything. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda is the construction site plan for Spring Haven, formerly known as Chandler Hills. This is the first submittal. I'm the project manager. The applicant's in attendance this morning. You received comments from DRC. Is there anything you would like to discuss before the DRC? If so, you could come. We can get you on the record. Sure. Yeah.
Dane Hamilton, Ashton Woods, 1064 Greenwood Boulevard, Lake Mary, Florida. I think overall, our primary concern, I think, is the sewer capacity, and I know Luke Clausen has been working. I see Vlad's here, so if there's any update from that perspective, that's really my primary concern. But if you have any questions for me, or if I can't answer them, I'll get back with Luke and we can talk about it. So,
all right. I know Public Works is here and Vlad is here as well.
Good morning, everyone. Vladimir Simonovsky, City Engineer, Public Works Director. We talked about in one of the meetings earlier about extending the sidewalk along Kelly Park from the frontage of the property to the corner there, right, including the crosswalk at the traffic light. So we'll make it safe for kids that actually go through that route, and also for the other developments that are coming on the west side of that to be able to safely go to the school. Was that updated on the plans? I haven't looked at that. Dale, was the sidewalk updated on the plans? The sidewalk in the front, I think it was like about 330 feet roughly.
yeah. I believe where we landed on this, Bobby, if you could flip to the overall site plan.
I'm definitely trying. We're having some technical difficulties.
But there's a connection to the subdivision. It's just south of the high school, but it's east of our property. It's where the lift station is proposed. There's actually an existing tie-in point over there, which would give students pedestrian access all the way via sidewalks to the high school in lieu of putting in any kind of sidewalk on Kelly Park Road. Yeah, this will work. So you can see. Oh, that's okay.
Apologize for that.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Luke, we were just talking about the sidewalk.
The sidewalk, 441 shut down. It's a big old wreck. The sidewalk off the cul-de-sac? So the cul-de-sac's not
No, the sidewalk in the frontage from
Right.
the main entrance to the Jason dwelling.
So
Traffic signal.
they're kind of one and the same, right? So we took the cul-de-sac at the end to keep the access through Orchard Estates. So because that goes through and goes up to the Kelly Park School. Because there's no sidewalk on Jason dwelling down to the school.
Well, there is sidewalk on Jason.
Not on the west side.
But there's gonna be a crosswalk, so they're gonna have to go, I think, on the east side and then cross there, right?
But how would they come back down to the school? Like right now, there's existing sidewalks through
Right in front of the school. I think there's a.
just south of the school. There's no sidewalks north of the school.
I'm pretty sure there is a sidewalk.
I think
Yeah.
we've looked it up. I don't think so. So that's
At
why
least on one side there is a sidewalk
On the east side.
and I think it's on the east side, correct?
Yeah, on the west side, where adjacent to the school, there's no There's no sidewalk north
Yeah,
of the
but
school.
that basically the same sidewalk. Kids that live on the east side of Jason Dwelly, like the mobile home park
Mhm.
there. I can't remember the name. And there's also other subdivisions. We have extended that sidewalk
Yeah.
a few years ago,
See this?
right, for these developments here.
Hmm.
So they utilized that sidewalk in front of the nursery.
Hmm.
Well, this is probably I know
That's Kelly Park.
April 2025.
But there's no.
Oh, okay. This is on the other side. Okay, so there should be a sidewalk, Bobby. If
The-
you go down on Jason Valley,
to the east.
just to the east,
Yeah.
there should be a sidewalk there, right? So they will require basically a crosswalk here.
But here's the problem. So on Kelly Park, there's not right of way there right now. So like we're dedicating right of way to the east of us at the corner. They haven't dedicated right of way. This
Well,
undeveloped site. You see what I'm
there
saying?
is still right of way. There's just no curb. I think the
I don't think there's enough because we're dedicating 15 feet. I forgot we're dedicating. So they're not. There's. You see what I'm saying? Like there's no room to build it right now, which is why we took the access.
Can we go to the property appraisal now so we can see?
Like in my head, keeping the kids off of Kelly Park where there's not enough right of way to build the sidewalk, or and there is no sidewalk, or on the west side of Jason Dweller where there's no sidewalk, keeping the kids off those roads and walking them through the neighborhood to Orchard Estates, and then you just turn to the north. That's to me, that's a lot safer for the kids.
Well, but that's a huge subdivision. So basically, all the other ones that will be coming from, let's say, Oaks or
Mm-hmm.
the one Chandler Oaks that's going to be on the west side of this development,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to have no option but to go through the subdivision as well. So if you
Well,
zoom in that section, like this section here,
I think eventually everyone's building the sidewalks with the right of way dedication they're providing, and eventually you'll have a sidewalk. But until in the interim, yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about from this driveway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically in front of the wooded area. I think there's sufficient right away there too.
Look at the corner right there at Kelly Park and Jason Dwelly. There's not even 4 feet. You can't even cut that corner. You see what I'm saying? There's just until they give their
there's a
15
curb
feet,
there.
there's no room. No, like look at the corner. It's like the curve and the property line. Until they give their right of way dedication, I don't see how you could even really build a sidewalk there. And same thing, they're gonna have to give right of way on Jason Dwelly, I think. I mean, you might have room on Jason Dwelly, but you definitely don't have it on Kelly Park. That's why every one of the developments the whole way down has been given right of way. And we're even doing the trail the city wants. It's a 10-foot trail. We're building the trail as part of the development. There's definitely not room to build a 10-foot trail. I mean, I don't. We can measure that, but I think it's like 3 feet. It doesn't even meet ADA standards or any city standards.
Luke, how are you bringing them, through the subdivision? Because that what's called Chandler Oaks Road is actually a private ingress and egress easement. It's not dedicated to the public.
It's actually a private tract. It's not an easement. It's a tract that's owned
That
by
gets you
Orchard
to what the
Estates.
subdivision, but then are you
Right.
going to go from the subdivision directly into the school property there?
It goes from our subdivision. We're maintaining that emergency access through Orchard Estates, through the
Right.
private tract that then connects to the public right of way. And then the kids can walk right to the school. There's all sidewalks from Orchard Estates. Then just
So-
to the north of Orchard is
so
the
they're
school.
Oh, okay.
So they can walk through Orchard Estates because it's a tract
Okay.
with the sidewalk, and then it's public right of way. So to me, that keeps the kids a lot safer. It keeps them off Kelly Park Road and off Jason Dwelly. We could try to build something, but it doesn't. To me, it doesn't look like there's enough room.
Yeah, but that track, I mean,
And then
you're
you're
gonna have a street lights there. You're gonna have periods of time that
You're right. I think there's going to be an interim.
they will have
until
to walk
they
in
develop.
walk in the dark, and I don't know how safe is that area. I mean,
Well, no.
it may be safer from
Ours, they wouldn't walk in the dark.
traffic perspective, but
What do you say? I'm saying with our situation that we currently have designed, they don't walk in the dark. The neighborhood's lit with street lights. Springhaven will be. Orchard Estates is already lit, and the school is right there.
so it's gonna be like back here, right?
Mhm.
This.
the connectivity that Orchard Estates currently has the 15-foot track that they use for their emergency access, that is Chandler Road, right? We're maintaining that connection through there to the public right of way, and then they can go up and walk to the school. So they're staying. They would be on our public right of ways.
Mhm.
They'd go on this track, this track that Orchard Estates and Spring Haven have the rights to public right of way, which is the White Dahlia Drive. But all this is all lit. It has lighting and it has sidewalk. So to me, it provides better access. Now, I agree. At the end of the day, you want this 10-foot trail to feed down, but until the two properties to the east of us, until they dedicate their right of way, I don't see how. We're doing a 12-foot trail. I'm sorry. There's a 12-foot trail along Kelly Park.
So the trail is on your side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a
10
30.
foot.
So everyone else has been given a 30-foot right of way dedication. So we're doing a 30-foot right of way dedication and 12-foot of trail that we're building.
Okay.
But so now you,
Have we had any discussions with the property owner? Is it one property or two
it's
properties here?
two. Yeah, just to the east of us at the corner, there's two property owners.
And not to my knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe what we could do is have a meeting, Public Works and
Yes.
and planning. And
Yeah, let's see. Let's see if we can work something out with the dedication of that. In that case,
Because we even talked to him about.
ideally we can extend it down.
We dedicated. We have a stub out here to the east. We talked about potentially getting an easement to come down, but even through there's no sidewalk here on Jason Dwelly. So no matter how we get there, to me, it's better for them to go this way that has street lighting and public right of ways where they have access to walk through right here.
Yeah, but you're introducing them now into
Into Orchard
everybody
Estates.
on the west side will have to go through this subdivision and then go through the other subdivision and then go again back north.
Correct. And I think that's an interim solution that gets the kids in a public right of way with street lighting. I think at the end of the day, this 12-foot trail and the right of way dedication that they're going to end up having to do whenever they come in.
We haven't received any applications for those two properties. Okay.
But every other development has had to do a 30-foot
okay.
right of way dedication and a 12-foot trail. And so
I think it's worth exploring.
Mhm.
Maybe, between us and you, we get with them and see
it's actually
if that dedication can be.
it's actually 3 parcels now that I'm looking at
Is
it.
it 3?
Yeah, there's one small one,
Okay.
and then there's a flag lot, and then there's the corner piece. So we don't mind trying, but I don't see how there's enough room to build a sidewalk there. Definitely not the 12-foot trail that you guys are looking for. We can survey how close the roadway is to that property corner, but based on property appraisals, it looks like it's like 3-4 feet.
Okay, let's take an out.
Yeah. Because this is what we kind of talked to OCPS about it as well, saying we're going to maintain that access through, and then we talked to the city council about it and said this is the access we're going to provide. We're setting up for the future to have better school access, but until they develop, kind of stuck. Sorry, I missed the beginning. Was there other comments?
All right. Does anybody have any questions for the applicant? Any additional questions?
Hey, Luke, just to verify, the alleys that you've got, they're 14 foot wide and they're two ways.
Correct. So the KPI standard, it's a 20-foot alley. The track, it's a private track. The
It's a
city
20
doesn't
foot, but the
take
pavement's 14.
the pavement's 14, and then there's two 12-inch ribbon curves on each side. So it's 16 foot of paved material, but it's 20 foot cleared. That's the KPI standard.
That's the
This one's a
KPI standard on an alleyway. So
That's-
basically, you're giving me 16 foot of fire truck.
16 foot of pavement, 14 foot of asphalt, and 1 foot on either side of concrete ribbon curb. They call it flush curb.
All right, I'm gonna have to really review that on those alleys just to make sure. I'll get back with you on those, Luke.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that's the KPI standard is one we followed, but we can look at doing.
That's fine. I just got to take a really good look at dive into that. I didn't realize I saw the 20-foot alleyway markings on it and kind of threw me off on
Whether
that.
we can do something.
All right. I'll
Nope.
definitely get back with you on that.
And I know I was trying to think about it after our conversation this morning. There's one spot on this site plan, you can see it here on the right next to the 262, where an alley tees into another alley. we could look at that and kind of where everything else an alley hits a public right of way, either 55 or 60 foot wide.
Okay.
Which is a little.
My other concern with this one was the spacing on the backside of 270, 273, 274, that whole area where the roadway goes away. It looks like there's like a section of green space. Is that what that
Yeah,
is?
green space in the front of the houses. We would run.
So, I mean, that's my access for my units.
Mm-hmm.
So now, like, how are we getting to those properties from our parking? Because I mean, if we're coming private alley, those are garages, correct?
Yeah, off the alley, they'd have garages.
Yeah. So then that's my problem with like, I can't depend on a garage where a car's parked.
So you want the road in the front.
Yeah. So I got to have some type of. I mean, I don't know how far off it is from that view, but I got to have some type of sidewalk, some type of way to take a stretch. I can't,
Yeah,
be
the
running-
idea was to run from the front porches. There'd be like a sidewalk connectivity to one of the public right of ways, whether it goes to the
Okay.
would that be
All
to
right.
the east or to the south. But we can draw in the sidewalk connections.
Okay, that would be great. So I can at least see.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Anything additional?
I'm gonna go back to that. So look,
Yes.
what was the thought of how the kids from Oaks, which are on the north side there, right? Oaks at Kelly Park, I think it's called. Where is there any plan where they're gonna cross to get through this subdivision to get to the school?
There's no crossing on Kelly Park right now. No mid-block crossing. So
So-
right now they can't go to the.
So they're way too close to the school. So I'm assuming they're not gonna be bused.
No.
Okay, so they have to
2
walk.
miles. But that's
Okay.
their problem. That's not ours to fix for them. They got to prove they did 30-foot right of way dedication and a sidewalk in front of them. They can't go to the east either. They're in a much worse situation than we are. We at least have connectivity through public right of ways to the school. They have to drive their kids, really. I mean, I guess their kids can walk, but I probably wouldn't trust my kids to walk there.
And right now we have nothing on the north side, right?
They built a sidewalk in front of their phase 1 and 3. Like they have their sections, but they don't have anything to the east on the north.
Yeah, like I said, we'll meet offline
Mhm.
and discuss it a little bit more. Public Works planning and the applicant. It sounds like it's going to require a little collaboration to come up with a
Yeah.
solution.
Is typically the Orange County School Board involved in some way with
No, the only thing we asked
the
them,
crossing, like
we asked them if we could connect to the back because like we saw that we were stepping on a roadway to the east here, and then we saw their parking was back here, so we asked if we can get a back connection, and they're understandably so. They're very particular about access points for their schools. They don't want multiple access points, so they would not agree to have us do that. They said you have to access off of Jason Valley.
So the school's going to give you a back gate.
They will not.
Yeah,
No,
I
we
didn't think so
asked
because
them.
it has to be manned if
Correct.
they have a gate
Yeah.
during the day.
And that's understandable with school shootings and all the things that happen at schools that you have to be concerned with anymore. I understand. It stinks in this situation. It'd be really nice to have an access, if we lived in a good world, but we don't.
yeah, we'll have to go south to Chandler and then go up.
Yeah, our kids will just walk through where that cul-de-sac is. There's that access to White Dahlia, and we go through there.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. That access, once you leave the subdivision, the access for those lots between the subdivision and Jason Dwelly, that's not a public right of way in there. There's a roadway in there.
Correct. It's their emergency access, but our subdivision has rights to that.
No, but once you get past the subdivision,
No, White Dahlia is a public
Yeah,
right of
they're
way.
Okay.
not gonna go through it. They're gonna get into White Dahlia.
Oh, they're
and then
gonna get
they'll
into
use the
White Dahlia
sidewalk to
before they
White
get-
Dahlia to
okay.
get to
To
the
Jason Dwelly.
school. Yes.
And then the sidewalk goes up from White Dahlia up to the school,
right?
and that's where it stops. It doesn't go further to
Yes.
the north on Jason Dwelly.
Okay.
Because I think at the end of the day, what's going to have to happen is a 30-foot dedication from those 3 properties along Kelly Park and some additional dedication along Jason Dwelly for some sidewalk whenever those properties come in.
Okay, let's discuss
Okay.
it and see.
I think we have some of the survey information, so I can send you some stuff. Like, here's what we looked at. But yeah, it is tight.
And Luke, I'm about halfway through my review. I'll get you my comments by the end of the week.
Okay.
And, you know, the easement issue we had on the last subdivision, you've got a lot of pipe that, and these 55-foot right of ways that are extremely close to the
Close.
right of way and, 6, 8, 9 feet deep.
Yeah,
So,
I think when we did these plans, we hadn't talked about that yet. So
Right.
I can look at that
Okay.
as well for this.
so like I said, I'll get you my comments by the end of the week.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. Anything additional for the applicant? Any questions? All right. Community.
I did want to talk about the cul-de-sac. I know that was one of the planning comment. And it is not allowed in the KPI. We can make it a stub road because it is technically an emergency access to Orchard Estate. It's their secondary access, Orchard Estates, to Tigress Drive and White Dahlia. We can make it a stub road if you want because you still have vehicular access there. Our thought was for solid waste and everything else, it made more sense, but I'm fine making it a stub road if you'd rather.
Yeah, the code says that you can't have a cul-de-sac unless it's basically no other alternative, like an environmental issue, like wetlands or something there. That's kind of the intent behind that in the KPI code. Stub out comp plan kind of discourages the stub outs. Yeah, I don't know what the solution would be there.
Let me draw some things up. Other alternatives. Look at the KPI.
Okay.
We can look at that.
All right. Yeah, and that was the only planning comment, that and the sidewalk, the school issue, which we've talked about that already.
At the commission meeting.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any other questions, Luke?
No, we didn't get any other comments. So.
Okay. Yep. And Public Works will be by the end of the week. So.
And then is Daw doing the review? I don't know.
On the agreement?
Just any of the utilities, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Community Development has nothing further. Police, anything additional? All right. Public Works,
No other comments.
Fire,
No other comments. Thank you.
Building.
I don't have anything. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Luke.
No problem.
All right. There are no other items on the agenda. Discussion. I sent an email to the DRC about Senate Bill 1080, which requires us to, for a site plan or something, having either approval with conditions or denial within 120 days. That was passed by the state legislature. So we have to kind of be mindful of our review times on these projects going forward. Any other items for discussion?
Well, that basically puts us on the same time schedule as the Water Management District and DEP with reviewing their applications.
Okay. All right.
But now with theirs, if you have questions or an incomplete application, that tolls the time till they get back with you. I assume it's the same with this.
I would assume so. So basically, to me, I think, and we can get a clarification from the legal department, but yeah, by the time you issue the comments and they respond to 120 days, it's total. That's what it seems to me like it is. But
I don't believe it stops.
I don't think it
I
does
think once
either.
it starts, that's
Yeah.
it. Whether it's going back and forth, I think that time runs
Yeah.
So,
on the new Senate bill.
so in other words, if you're still negotiating comments and 120 days hit, so what it's going to force us to do is then just to deny the application, deny the permit, so they then have to start over, which doesn't make any sense. Because if
Or allow it, and then with changes to be made, that's going to probably be the way it's going to have to go. Because if you deny it, then it's going to hit the fan.
Yeah, because the denial has to be based on, reasons per the code and the comp plan, that you're not consistent with that, or, that type of stuff.
So do we approve it with some sort of written agreement that says we're going to address these things outside of the permitting process?
Maybe approve with conditions, or, here's your conditions of approval that you have to satisfy. I don't know. We can reach out and get Cliff to weigh in on it and see how that works. But it's definitely with Senate Bill 180, everything's burdensome and overreach now, and then Senate Bill 1080, where we have a shot clock basically to where we have to get everything done. And then with cell towers, we got a cell tower coming in. I think our code plus federal law requires a 60-day approval period on that as well. So it's it's getting
So
a
in
little
other
bit more
words,
difficult.
if I approve Luke's project and there's some things we haven't agreed upon, but I make it a condition of the permit,
Mm-hmm.
that either forces him to do those things because it's a condition of the permit, or then he's going to have to come in and modify his permit. Seems like a lot of extra work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's approval. I think it said approval with conditions or denial was what it said. Yeah, within 120 days, which is, 4 months?
We didn't either.
Yeah. Yeah.
The way some of these things are worded is ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
it's like they didn't ask for anybody else's inputs.
Mm-mm.
One guy's making a phone call, make it say this.
Yeah.
I
Like,
would
how'd that
argue
get through?
it doesn't help the developer. It definitely hamstrings
doesn't.
you guys, but I don't know that it actually helps the developer.
It has not been.
I think you're going to get denials is what's going to happen,
Yeah.
and then it causes more issues.
Yeah. 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 And if you deny something, you could possibly face litigation and things like that too, So
Well, you
it's.
approve with conditions, and really you're just asking them to submit a plan amendment when you still
Mhm.
haven't even finished it.
Yeah, because you could have 30 conditions of approval.
And then we can charge you for submitting the plan amendment.
Exactly. It ends up being. I don't think it helps. It doesn't help. Definitely doesn't help y'all, but I don't think it actually helps the developers. But
Yeah, because
it doesn't matter. It's a state statute.
and if it's a major development plan or something, we have the 120 days. It has to be public hearings, so that takes up 2 months because of the scheduling of the hearings, and we may be taking things forward with a bunch of conditions of approval.
Oh, do the public meetings have to happen in the 120 days as well, or
I
just
think
the
so.
TRC
Yes,
of the public
I think
meetings?
it's the public meetings as well. Yeah,
Okay.
so it's going to be interesting. Yeah. All right. Anything else? Other than that, it's Wednesday, right? All right, we're adjourned.